Cohen took center stage this year after he implicated the president paying hush money to adult film actress Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal during the 2016 election. Like those references to adult actress and anyway, Playboy, the whole thing. This is so Trumpian. Anyway, Cohen released a secret recording of himself and the president discussing a possible payment to McDougal. Let's listen to this tape recording.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with funding. Yes. And it's all the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be. Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
What financing?
We'll have to pay you. So no. I got no. Hey, no. How are you?
Well, Cohen isn't a new figure in Trump world. Of course, in a tape from 2015 that was released by NPR this year, he made an astonishing claim to a reporter asking about allegations by Trump's first wife, Ivana, in a 1989 deposition that Trump raped her. Let's listen.
You're talking about Donald Trump. You're talking about the front runner for the GOP presidential candidate, as well as private individual who never raped anybody, and of course understand that by the birth definition, you can't rape your spouse.
Well, Ivana said in 2015 that the story is totally without merit. Well, Cohen then threatened the reporter.
Mark my words for it. I will make sure that you and I meet one day while we're in the courthouse. And I will take you for every penny you still don't have. And I will come after you, Daily Beast, and everybody else that you possibly know. Do not even think about going to where I know you're planning on going. So I'm warning you. Tread very lightly, because what I'm going to do to you is going to be disgusting. Do you understand me? Don't think you're going to hide behind your pen, because it's not going to happen.
Jonathan, do you understand me? Do you understand me? That is mob talk, and that is definitely in the back room with the rubber hose. Don't mess with me stuff. That's not the somewhat sympathetic figure we see walking to and from the courthouse these days.
He's a lovely, calm gentleman. I think Hollywood actors are going to be fighting each other to play Michael Cohen in the movie version of all this someday. I mean, this character is unbelievable. You see, shame and contrition in the courtroom the other day, again talking like a mob enforcer, not a fixer or a lawyer, but like an enforcer. What's fascinating, though, about the recording of Trump, which seems to implicate a lot of other people, or at least bring them in, David Pecker, other lawyers of the Trump operation. What's amazing about that tape is that that's what you would expect the FBI to get if they had a wiretap authorized, and this is Michael Cohen taping it himself. You have to wonder about two things. Number one, how little he trusts Donald Trump to begin with. And number two, sort of how dumb he is to do that in terms of the potential for that to become a huge legal liability for himself in the future, as we have seen it did.
How many mob movies have we seen? I've seen a lot where they always check to see if you're wired. Trump never checked to see if these guys are wired. These women they're wired when they go in to see him.
Yeah, no, and it does. I mean, we say this over and over again, but it does have that sort of a mob feel to it. Like they should all have, certain nicknames that should be passed around.
Mikey the Rat.
Yeah, right. And everybody has their price for a certain amount. There appears to be loyalty. You have the president, talking about, John Dean the Rat.
Yeah.
You have him talking about, flipping. Flipping should be a crime.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.